Now, as we continue to deconstruct, I spoke in the last video, Love and Adversity, dimensions, realms, and realities. It all starts with a paradigm which requires breaking it entirely down for you to reconstruct a new paradigm based off of the dimension you just discovered, then going on to the realm, and then to the reality. This refines the paradigm you just created, and it's based off of dimensions. So you have the dimension of love, that is length. Walk the extra mile. God showed it to you practically. That builds a new realm and a new paradigm. So the paradigm is built upon the length of love and how far love is willing to actually go. And that carries on to the new realm. And that's refined in the realm where you start practicing it daily. And then it becomes a reality. So that's the perfection of the paradigm. Then you have depth. How deep are you willing to be in terms of the darkness, in terms of struggle, in terms of adversity, in terms of strife? I said it, it's on my necklace. In the darkest hour, when the demons come, call on me, brother. We will fight them together. How willing are you to show a little bit of ounce of love in someone else's darkness, in someone else's struggle, in someone else's strife, in someone else's grief, in someone else's loss? Are you willing to sit in the rain with people? This is the type of weather that motivates me. It inspires me. I decided to be exceptional in suboptimal conditions. And this is why I can do exactly this. The weather doesn't ruin my video, it enhances and makes my video exceptional. I don't care what anybody else has to say. All the other content creators, oh my makeup, oh my hairspray, I don't care. Those are the shitfluencers that you listen to on Shitstagram, and they call themselves Christian. But God had a very specific plan with the weather because He knows I love this weather. I've learned and accustomed myself to learn to love this weather because it shows me the depth of how much God can love me. And if it transpires, it just needs to be extrapolated from a physical sense to a spiritual, social, emotional, mental, financial sense, where you need to be able to just sit down with someone in the rain, in the grief, in the thunderstorms of their life, in the peak of their adversity, in the peak of their struggle, in the peak of their strife, and show them love. However much you can scrounge up, just show them a little bit of love and watch what happens. I spoke about feedback loops. If you give love, you get love. And it creates this upward spiral where it's just back and forth, and it starts creating a spiral because of the momentum that generates. So, the depth of love, the paradigm that you need to discover is the depth of love. So, deconstruct what you think about love in terms of depth and height. It's like I told you about trees. Trees first have to grow deep underground before they can start shooting up in the sky. And every ability that a tree has to stand that tall is dependent on how deep the roots are under the ground. That's the structure, that's the paradigm, that's the realm. The realm is what you see, the reality is what you see, the dimension is what exists underneath. And that can only be felt, that can only ever be mutually felt, never understood, never comprehended, can only be felt. Then you have width. Width is your ability now with length and depth to start beginning to fill love in. So you have to challenge the paradigm, the perspective you have of the width of love and what the capacity is that you can contain. And then when you're in that dimension, you have a new paradigm and you refine that paradigm when you enter the realm. And by the time it becomes a reality, it's fully in practice and it just continues refining. And when these three start feeding into each other, you create an endless feedback loop within yourself to just generate love. No matter how much negativity you get, no matter how much strife, no matter how much struggle you have, no matter how much of the negative adversity, struggle, strife, grief, loss, sadness, whatever pain comes your way, there's such a big feedback loop within you through the length, the width, and the depth of love that you become an unstoppable force. Your love is ruthless and irrational to the point that all of that enters this vibrational frequency of love inside of you that it converts into love. It has no other choice to. It has no other choice but to turn into love. Strife comes along the way, meets you, and it becomes love. Negativity, you heard something negative about someone else's life, about your own life. There is such a reality of love within you based off of such a solid paradigm that it has no other option but to turn into love. That's the existence of Christ. That's the existence that Christ calls us to exist in that love. And it is truly exceptional. Now, I'm not entirely sure how long I've been speaking, but I would like to continue. So stay with me. I spoke in the last video about how love becomes like an EMP, electromagnetic pulse, and when it emits, it just, the frequency of that field blows out every other distraction, every other electronical thing in its radius, every distraction in your life, every empty noise, every single thing that was keeping you from communicating to God is just mute because of such a powerful force of love, such a strong pulse of love. Now imagine if that was a constant, because that is what love is. It's just a vibrational frequency. And technically, it's the frequency at which God operates at. Everything, here's a lesson for you. Everything comes back to frequencies. And frequencies are very important. I want you to self analyze for a minute and remember every time you were scared, every time you were worried, every time you were happy, every time you felt love, every time you felt sadness. Now look at these emotions or these feelings. You were operating in a different vibrational frequency. Your mind was different. Your entire body reacted differently to it. Your soul, your spirit reacted differently to it. Your heart reacted differently to it. Something about you became so different in terms of a frequency. And I challenge you to do this with music. Listen to the most depressing song in your album right now, and then flip the song to rap, or flip the song to something that's happy and upbeat, and watch your mood change. That is how they are getting to you, through music. They know how frequency through sound can manipulate the mind. Most of you just think, oh, I love that artist. That artist is being paid to manipulate your mind. Oh, I want to go to that concert. Again, that artist is getting paid to manipulate your mind. Can you believe how much manipulation pays? Millions for concerts, millions for songs. When you realize this, I want you to start cutting off all the music that's sad and depressing. Make sure it's just gone, because it's only ever going to get in your way.